The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome into a Wednesday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by our good friends right above our heads right there. They get the big logos on Wednesday. Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. Scotty Mincher to my right. It's Wednesdays. You know what Wednesdays means. It means Running Wednesdays with Rick Seipert. We're on
Yes, I do. It's track time.
episode 7. Scotty's excited for it. We're going to get right into it because this is a jam-packed episode featuring special guests Ava Vecchione from Springfield, Ava Hewlett from Middle Ridge, both going off to state in Dayton, along with a bunch of other track athletes that we go over all the results. Every runner and relay that is going to, I should say, and thrower that is going to state is going to be laid out for you, and we're going to have a really fun trip to Dayton for a lot of teams. So without further ado, we're just going to roll right into it because it's a jam-packed episode. Here is episode 7 of Running Wednesdays with Rick Seipert. Anthony Hertwig, Rick Seipert here for another Running Wednesdays. We're on episode 7 with Rick Seipert. We're so happy to be here talking about the regional recap and everyone that made it to state. And one player that did absolutely make it to state is joining us here on the top of the show, Ava Vecchione from Springfield. We're familiar with her. She does, seems like everything well. Ava Vecchione joining us today. Ava, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You got it.
How's it
What's
going?
it like making it to state? Like, let's just start off with the obvious. You know, you get to state, you're able to get a regional championship. What's it like to be able to go down to Dayton next week or this week?
I mean, it was definitely the goal from the beginning of the year to make it back because we have had success. Like the past few years, I've been lucky enough to make it to state. And this year, I think with my teammates and my coaches, like really pushing me, it just feels really rewarding being able to go, especially in 3 different events.
Yeah, congratulations. So what's the mindset this week when you're heading down there? I mean, I know it's the biggest stage possible and a different venue this year as well, going over to Dayton. So, like, what's your self-talk this week going to look like since this is your second trip over there?
Definitely just confidence and taking care of like my body because last year in Columbus, like it was really hot. And when I did my 2 relays, and when I got to my individual events, it was like I was just drained and I was like dehydrated. So this year it's definitely like just taking care of my body and then just telling myself like I'm going to make it to the second day. I'm going to place on the podium, just like positive self-talk.
What other lessons do you think you learned from being there before that you're going to lean on this year when, you know, you talk about mentality and knowing what to expect? Is there anything else that you think you're going to take from last year into this year?
I mean, I guess it just like anything could happen because like someone could win regionals and then go to state and then they could do even better or they can do worse. So I guess really when you go down there, it's like anyone's game. Like anyone could show up and just do great. So I just have to tell myself, like, even if I'm not ranked, like the top 8 or 9 to qualify for the next day, that I could still podium. I could still make it to the next day and place.
Yeah, it's a good mentality because, I mean, a lot of people their goal is to go to state, but I mean, it seems like you have the good idea this week. Like you're going to state to compete and get after it a little bit. You learned some lessons last year, so it's time for you to go there and shine out there. So like you said, last year you had a couple setbacks in terms of like hydration and then just running rampant. Like how exactly are you going to change things up for yourself this year?
Definitely just like staying hydrated, like starting now and tomorrow. I think it's really important to just keep drinking water and Gatorade and like lay low on all like the sugar and stuff like that. And then we've been taking ice baths and just stretching like extra, like more than I would for like just a regular quad meet or something. So
I know this has been a goal for you since the season started. What was it like navigating this season with this goal in mind, but also taking it one meet, 1 week at a time and making sure you're not looking too far ahead?
it was just like looking at the competition I had at that meet. I wasn't really looking ahead. We didn't really start like, I guess, scouting until districts came up. So I really wasn't focusing on like what everyone else was running. I was just focusing on the girls that I would race against at the quad meet or tri meets that I was at and the invitationals. So, and then obviously just getting faster and faster each meet. That was definitely the goal.
So what events do you feel the best about going over to Dayton this week?
Well, definitely the Open 100 and Open 200. This is my first year, really. I mean, I ran the 100 hurdles a few meets last year, but then they pulled me out because I had a better chance at running the Open 2. But I mean, I'm pretty confident in that race. Obviously, I'd have to drop like some time and just critique like a few things in my form. But I feel most confident about the 200 and then the 100.
We talked about at the top introducing you. You're a multiple sport athlete. You've been to state, not just in track before, you've been to state in basketball before as well. What's it like to have such a successful, just athletic career at the school and to be able to hopefully finish off your senior year with another really big weekend down there in Dayton?
I mean, I'm definitely grateful. I've had like a really great coaching staff for all three sports throughout every single year. And it's just like all the girls are always like, we're always lifting each other up and we all want it. So it's more fun when you have like coaches and teammates who all want to go as far as we can. But yeah, like I'm just proud of everyone and grateful for being blessed, like with opportunities of being able to go to state.
So like this week with your big moment going to state. What's the pre-meet going to look like for you? You have a big meal planned the night before, or do you have any routines that you absolutely have to have on Thursday?
I've been eating pasta. My mom will make like butter noodles, or we'll have like spaghetti or something to carb up, and then bread and stuff. And just like I said, hydrating and like ice bath and stretching and stuff like that.
You get ready for this state run with school being done, right? You're done. You don't have to worry about school anymore. What kind of benefit is that for you to be able to be locked in completely on track and all the other stuff that you have to deal with throughout the other sports? It's gone. You're done with school. What kind of benefit is that for you?
Well, actually, we end school tomorrow. So I had school today and then I have my last day tomorrow. But I guess it sucks that like everyone's out of school and I'm still in it, but it also at the same time, like I'm still in that routine of waking up every morning at like 7:00. And then when I go to state, we're leaving early in the morning. So it's like, I'll still have that routine like built in. So.
Yeah, it's a little bit different this year since the venues changed. You guys would normally be running on Friday, but now it's the Thursday this week just to accommodate all the different athletes there. So you're a standout athlete in the area. Do you have any good messages to send to any of the younger athletes around that could be a three-sport athlete like yourself, especially with the success that you've had in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely at times like mentally tough. I mean, it's hard when you really have like maybe 7 days out of the whole year where you can go home after school and just like be home. So it definitely is hard, but I think it's definitely worth it to go 100%, 110% every practice because, I mean, when you have success, like it's a great feeling and you're just proud of yourself and all your teammates. And so.
I want to talk about the transition between soccer, basketball, and then track because soccer and basketball are nothing but team oriented. And then track, you have that mix of individual times with working with your team and pushing everyone else on the team and being a great teammate as well. So how do you transition from the sport like basketball that is just so team oriented to now it's a little bit more about my individual's time and trying to make my times as good as it can be?
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely different when you go from like relying on the team to really it's like you're just relying on yourself. But I have good teammates who we're pushing each other, and I mean at practice it always feels like it's like we're part of a team because like obviously we do drills together. We split into our groups like with the sprinters and mid distance, so I'm not really ever alone. All my teammates they've been really like uplifting and they've been pushing me. So it's not too bad.
So, like you said, you're kind of like you're not alone, but you are alone with these individual events. So, like, what are some things that you're going to be doing to get yourself mentally ready? I mean, that's a really long drive over to Dayton.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what are you going to do to get yourself in the zone? Do you have like music that you like to listen to? Do you like do like puzzles or something like that to relax? Like, what kind of stuff do you do?
Yeah, I definitely will probably have my AirPods in like the whole ride. And I've been watching a show. My friends and stuff always make fun of me, but I've been watching it's called Bridgerton on Netflix, and I've been watching that before every meet the past like 2 weeks. And then also another thing I do, which my coaches and teammates make fun of me for, but I always have like candy in my bag. So I've been eating Skittles before like every race or Sour Patch Kids. Those are usually my go-to candies just to give me like some extra energy before I'm about to run.
The
Yeah, it's
power
always
of
good.
Skittles.
Yeah.
The power of Skittles.
I
What's
have
the
like
favorite
two
flavor?
big bags. I just get either the tropical kind or the like original.
Do you have a favorite color? Like this Skittle is better than any other Skittle?
I
Or are they
feel like
all
I feel like they all taste the same.
really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I get like
Hey,
little handfuls at a time.
um, when you think of things that you're most proud of, you're going to graduate. You get to reflect on everything that you've done throughout your career. What are you most proud of? Whether it be school, whether it be one sport, whether it be your whole sport career. What are some things that you are just the most proud of that you've been able to accomplish?
Well, my parents are big on academics, so definitely like academically being successful. But then for sports, like obviously I've had a great amount of success, so I'm definitely proud. Like going to regionals in basketball or winning regionals and going to state in basketball, that was fun, and making it like in the relays for state. Like it was like you just everyone was like so proud of each other and it was just so fun like placing and stuff and like soccer and I've been blessed to have like teams for all three sports that we're all so close that like practices don't feel like practices. It just feels like you're hanging out with your friends, with just like running. So yeah.
That's a great mentality to have. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
challenge I give my seniors every year is to make sure they leave it better than when they got it. So it seems like you're going to be doing that with the Springfield programs over there. So what's the next steps for you? What are we going to expect out of Ava moving forward next fall?
Well, I'm just going to YSU. I'm still undecided on my major. I'm between either like going into the nursing field or like accounting or finance. But I'm not going to be doing sports in college, but I'm just going to be staying at home and starting off at YSU.
All right. With that being said, I know you can't turn off the competitiveness gene. So, what ways are you going to still try to stay competitive, get those juices flowing? Do you think maybe Coach Vecchio might be somewhere in the future? I know you're going to keep sports in your life. So, what ways are you
Yeah.
going to do that?
I mean, I'm definitely gonna like obviously I'm still gonna work out and stuff. I'm probably gonna do like intramurals or stuff like that at like the rec center at YSU or do something because I don't think I could just like completely be done with sports. So I'll definitely do something. But I've been saying like me and my friends like want to play like pickleball or like something like that I like haven't played before. Like I thought that would be like fun to
In the
try.
same avenue, when did you kind of make that decision that playing sports to the next level, whether it be whatever sport you wanted to play, when did you make that decision that that wasn't going to be the best fit for you and that you didn't want to make that move?
Hmm. I mean, my family they kind of like wanted to push me towards playing sports, but I just felt like I'm satisfied with
Mhm.
the career I've had through all three sports. I mean, it is a lot, so I give props to the people who are playing college sports, because that is a lot. But like I said, I'm just like satisfied with the career I've had, and I'm okay with like moving on and not playing sports in college. I have thought about it, like running track in college, or I've talked to like soccer coaches too. But I just figured like I just want to focus on schooling, and then like I'm still gonna do stuff sports wise, but not for the school.
And go do all the things that you missed out on for your high school career, right?
Right.
Go experience life a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorite days for kids. I always tell them, what should we do on our day off? And I said, whatever you want. You're a kid. Go do kid things.
Yeah.
And especially as a stay down 3 sports and going so deep, you're basically going from one sport to the next probably for the last several years here.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to take a break. And the intramurals at YSU are great. So I'm sure you'll have a good time doing whatever you choose to do down there.
Great.
So do you have any shout outs that you want to give to any of the people that got you to where you're at today?
Yeah, definitely all my track coaches. I have a great coaching staff. They always push me, give me many pep talks, and lift me up. And then I'll shout out my senior girls, so Emma Sanders, Hallie Joyce, and Riley McCombs, because they've stuck by my side the whole season. They've been very like uplifting and positive towards me. And then obviously my parents and my grandparents, because they come to every sporting event the last 4 years in high school. They've been super supportive. And then my sisters, because they also, even if they don't want to be there, they go and cheer me on.
Excuse me. But we ask every track athlete this too. Really quick, what is your favorite, training drill and then least favorite?
For track?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't like running like long distances. So like when we do 400 repeats or like 600, anything greater than that. And usually I get stuck doing those with hurdles since I was a 300 hurdler and 100 hurdler. So those sucked. And then my favorite is just like short sprints, like 50 or 100-meter sprints.
Yeah, probably a lot of that this week, just cutting down and tapering for this weekend. So
yeah.
The quickest practices of the year, it's just about being sharp and fresh for what's to come.
Exactly.
Ava, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us. This is kind of a good last way to interview you one last time. We've done it so much throughout the other sports as well. Thank you for your time always. We wish you the best of luck at state, and we look forward to talking to you real soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, good luck this week.
Thank you.
Ava Vecchione from Springfield, multiple sport athlete, so successful in her athletics career at Springfield, and it continues with a state run. Not the only Ava we're talking to today. A little bit later, we'll be having Ava Hewlett from Middle Ridge join us too. But before that, Coach, we have regional roundup. We have to talk about everyone that did so well in regionals, including our 2 guests today, but not limited to. So talk about the results and what you saw as far as big performances in the regional round.
I mean, we are very well represented at Dayton. We have over 100 athletes that are making it through to the state meet. So, I mean, it's very impressive. We're very robust at the D3 level. And then as the schools get a little bit bigger, the numbers thin out. But that's just because, it's an area with a lot of smaller schools in it. So we showed up in the area, especially with the YSN schools, in the track and field events. So starting with the D3, as we predicted, the Lowville boys were the regional champions at the D3 meet. They are very well represented, and I stand with what I said in episode 1, Coach. I think that the Lowville boys have a very good opportunity to be the state champions. With Michael Ballone leading the charge, he put on a show again in the long jump, the 100 hurdles, the 300 hurdles, and then they had the state leading 4x4 as well. So I really feel like Lowville has a great opportunity to be the state champions as the team. He has a teammate in Drew Moleski in the 400 and the 200. And then if those guys are able to put it together, I really think that the Lowville boys can be the state champions for us. On the continuing with the guys side, our 5 throwers from McDonald, all 5 of them are going to be represented in Dayton. So again, we picked a good interview there. All 5 of them ended up getting through. So I'm really excited for our throwers from McDonald. I know their following is going to be huge for them. So I really think that both of the guys can be on the podium there as well in the discus. Trent Ellison made it from United. David Blackman from LeBray in the 110 hurdles. We had 4 local 4x2s make it out: Mooney, JFK, and Lowville. LeBray, United, and Mooney all made it in the 4x1. I'm really thinking that United and Mooney have a wonderful opportunity to get on the podium there. They're going in as one of the top 8 schools. 5 local men's 4x4s made it for D3. That's Lowville, Springfield, Badger, Columbiana, and Mooney. So again, we are very well represented down there. Aiden Apple from Springfield made it. Christian Davis, that's a name we've been talking about all year, from Brookfield. I have a great feeling about him running the 400. Nathan Kukovic from JFK's in the 300 hurdles. Again, Mike Balone, and then Dante Gentile from Springfield as well. So Springfield Tigers are well represented heading over there. Danny Milborn from United, he made in the 200. Then we have Duncan Moy, Robert Rogers from Grand Valley High jumping. Carson Clace from McDonald, he's in the mile and the 800. Andrew and Alex Donaldson from Maplewood. I know they're not YSN schools, but they're both heading down in the 800. And then Joey Capizzolo and Dominic Papagallo from McDonald and Mineral Ridge are going to round up all the boys that are in D3. Like I said, on the girls' side, the Bundy sisters and Sierra Shilley from McDonald, they're going to be representing in the shot put and discus events. Bailey Warmer from Crestview's high jumping, Katie Krexa from Badger, Sierra Triplett from Liberty. Those 3 girls are all going to be high jumping. Brinsley Hiscox from United, she's a freshman. She's going to her first state meet. Avi Vecchione, she's going to be, like we said there, with all of her hurdles. Ava Hewlett in both the 100 and 300 hurdles. The Mooney girls 4x2, the United girls 4x1. Samir Ratuno from Mooney, she turned in a great time, 45 seconds in the 300 hurdles. I have a good feeling that she's going to be on the podium in the 300 hurdles. The Mooney girls 4x4. And then let's see who else. Kaylee Richards and Rebecca Geis, they're holding it down in the long distance events, in the mile and the 2 miles. So D3, we have a lot to talk about there. Going back to the Lowville boys, in 2023, it took 38 points to win the state meet. So if Balone and any of those relays and Drew can have a big day, I really think that those boys are going to hold up the trophy at the end of the meet there. Moving over to D2, I called it last week. Salem girls are going to win the regional, and they certainly did such a thing. They really showed up last week, and they're extremely well represented heading over to Dayton. Maddie Gorby is going to be high jumping. Kaylee Carlisle is going to be throwing the shot and the disc. And then the Hopple and Hall. Hopple made it out in the 1600, and then Maggie Hall made it out in the 800. And then our third H, or the Triple H, Riley Hutton, is going to be long jumping, and she's going to be running the 400 as well as the 4x4. Again, Salem is super well represented at the state meet there. They also qualified their 4x2 and their 4x8. West Branch had a nice day over there. Their 4x2 and their 4x1 got out. Kennedy Grace from Champion is going to be throwing the discus. Mia Melito from Girard, she made it out in the high jump and the long jump. I mean, like I said, we are extremely well represented. Ava Littler from Canfield, I think she can pull it off and be the individual state champion in the 100 hurdles. If she runs a clean race, I don't think anybody's going to be stopping her there. So again, we have some girls that are going to be on the state podium, and I predict that Salem's probably going to be one of the top 3 teams at the state meet. Their girls really got to show up, but I have a good feeling about them. On the boys' side, John Wilson from Beaver Local made it out in long jump. The East Liverpool 4x8, the Lakeview 4x8, and the Lakeview 4x1. Nashawn Callens from Orange made it out in both the 110 hurdles and the 300 hurdles. The East Liverpool 4x4 made it out. Jeremiah Moore from Beaver Local got out in the mile. Emmett Schlabach from South Range made it out in the mile. Maddox Roach from East Liverpool made out in the 1600. And then Julius Jones is the last 800 runner from East Liverpool. He ran a 154. I really think that 154 is going to get him up on the podium as well. Last but not least is our D1. We have three 4 D1 schools in the area. That's Boardman, Canfield, Fitch, and Harding. And it's just the Canfield boys that are D1 this year. On the boys' side, the Boardman boys 4x8 they're going dancing. They're going to have to run a special race if they're going to get up on the podium, but it's not outside the possibilities for them. Braden Bryant, once again, the freshman sprinter from Fitch, he got down there in the 100. Brock Ferris broke our school record for the 3rd time this year. He's going to be going in the 800 again. I have a good feeling about him jumping up on the podium as well. Blake Baker, another guy we interviewed this year, turned in a monster race in the 3200. He is locked in. I think he's going to get up on the podium there in the 3200. Harrison Spalding from Fitch is pole vaulting. Najee Jones from Harding is out there high jumping and long jumping. And then Amir Ali is the last boy that made it out. He's going to be throwing the shot put. On the girls' side, Deani Thompson is going down to the 300 hurdles. Jameer Hanzu from Harding's out in the 100 hurdles. Megan Vadis and Sarah Barrow from Boardman both got out in the disc. And then Sarah Barrow is also going to be throwing the shot put down there. Both of the hurdlers, Hanzu and Thompson, I have a good feeling about them running clean races and getting up on the podium. And then our very own Sarah Barrow, I have a really good feeling about her getting there in the shot put as well. I really think we're going to see a lot of local representation on the state podiums this week. We have several kids that can be individual state champions. And again, the weather looks beautiful. The track is redone there. They put like $25 to $30 million into Welcome Stadium. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that venue has changed. It's even that outdoor mondo. So that stuff that's a really good surface, has a very high elastic recoil efficiency on it. So we really should see some fast times out there this week.
Which is really fun because usually when a site has to get moved because, the one site, Desi Owens, is under construction, so they had to move it. Usually it's just whatever you can take, you'll put them where you need to, but you don't have any kind of downfall to go to Dayton. I mean, it's a really awesome facility. You're not losing much going from Dayton.
Yeah, I mean, the state meet was there years ago, so some of the coaches that have been around for a while kind of know what to expect for what the venue was like. But now that it's been renovated, I mean, I'm really excited to see how a lot of these kids were able to compete out there. So, but the only weird thing is, I'm going to be a little snobbish about this. I liked having it as a 2-day event.
Okay.
So just because I could see the D3 stuff, because I mean, there's only so much time you can spend in a hotel room getting ready to go. You'll end up getting yourself crazy just sitting there pacing back and forth getting ready for this state meet. But now that it's a 3-day event, we're going to have to be watching on our phones and all that stuff because we're not even leaving for our contest until Friday. So we're going to miss the whole Thursday part of it, but that's okay. We'll still get to see the results come up, and the finals are on Friday anyhow. It's actually kind of cool though, because the way they have it set up is the D3 prelims are going to be Thursday night, and then the D2 prelims and D1 prelims are going to run through the day on Friday. Right. And then Friday night is the D3 finals. So those D3 kids are going to get to run under the lights on the big show out there. So
really, you'll be able to see the finals for D3. You're just going to miss the prelims.
Yeah, the prelims. But I like to watch my track no matter where it's at. Oh, yeah. I've been following along with everything here. So it's exciting just because you like to see different kinds of things happen. And you cheer on kids that you've competed against over the years, even if you really don't know them. For example, the returning state champion in D1, his name's Carl Dietz from Chardon. He broke a 36-year-old 400 record at the regional last week. Now, that was set in 1988 by one Robert Smith, so any Buckeye fans out there should recognize the name. And almost immediately, Robert got a hold of Carl and just congratulated him on breaking that record.
Right.
So, I mean, you're seeing a lot of cool things go down. I mean, people respect the sport, and the athletes that hold those records for such a long time, I'm sure they always understand that records are meant to go down. So, that was a big moment over there for Carl. And it's an even more insane thing. He set a 36-year-old record, and he goes down to the state not as the number 1 seed. So I'm really excited to see how this boys 400 turns out. Yeah, like a kid from Elyria turns in like a 46:02. I mean, that's an insane time. Like 46:02 is flying, and you see that every year though. Like, just when you don't think things can get any faster or thrown any further, they certainly do those things.
I think that's like in every sport. You're starting to see like the next generation of athletes get better and better and better, no matter what sport you're talking about. You know, we're seeing more 1,000-point scores in basketball than we've ever seen. We're seeing kids in football being able to throw the ball and run faster than we've ever seen. And, you know, softball, baseball, the pitching velo is getting up. So it's happening in every sport. We're just getting better. I don't know, as a human race. I don't know.
Well, I mean, equipment is better. They have like those super shoes that they have now, and you heard me say earlier the elastic recoil efficiencies. But they have shoes now that the more force you put down, the more force you're going to get back up. So they're designed to actually make you a couple of percentage points faster. Those super shoes, yeah. So those carbon fiber shoes. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing the training techniques, the lifting techniques. I mean, like I said, if you're going to run fast, you have to train fast. So sprinting is sprinting, but the way people lift in the weight rooms with the equipment, I mean, you're pushing the human body to limits that it hasn't seen before.
Are there shoes that like are not acceptable or like that? Is there like a shoe? Like in softball, you can only use so many bats, right? So there are bats that are sanctioned. Are there shoes that are unsanctioned?
I don't know the rule 100%, but I'm pretty sure that some of those carbon fiber shoes, depending on what the venue is or depending on what the league is, you're not able to use them. Right. But I mean, it still helps you. It still helps you through training.
Yeah, you can still train with them. No doubt.
Yeah, if you're training with things like that, they're going to make you faster. But I mean, everything's. I mean, if you watch the 1500 at the collegiate level now compared to 20 years ago, there's 1,500 runners now that are wearing hybrid sprint spikes. Okay, that wasn't a thing 25 years ago. I mean, breaking the 4-minute mile was a big deal years ago. Now there's 50 plus kids that are doing it on a yearly basis. Breaking 10 seconds. Right. I believe there's over 100 collegiate athletes that broke 10 seconds in the 100. I mean, as a race, we're getting faster. Things are just getting better in a lot of sense there. There's high school kids running sub 10 now. It's insane.
What else is getting better is Ava Hewlett from Middle Ridge. It's the perfect tee up to talk to another runner that is going to state. Ava, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on and talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
You got it.
Welcome, Ava. How's it going over there?
Oh, it's good.
I'd hope so. I'd hope so. So let's talk about getting to state and the feelings that come with it. And I know it's been a goal all year, and you finally get to be able to accomplish it. What did it feel like to realize that you were going to state?
Well, I knew I couldn't get too excited because I had a meet to run on Wednesday to make semis and then come back on Friday for finals. So I just had to keep focused and focus on my own race and not worry about anyone else.
You excited? So obviously you're going to be excited to head over there. What's your mindset with the quick turnover? You're going to be running Thursday night and then possibly coming back for the finals on Friday for these things. How are you going to make that adjustment going from a Wednesday, Friday to a Thursday, Friday this week?
Yeah, I'm definitely bringing my Epsom salt down to Dayton, and I'm going to be taking an Epsom salt bath to just recover my legs. But hopefully that just stretching and how I get ready for every meet, that it'll all be good.
Talk about this week leading up to it and what kind of preparation work goes in before you even get down to Dayton, and maybe some pre-day meals that you're going to be putting in your body, things like that you're doing in the next couple of days that are going to get you ready for Thursday.
Yeah, I've definitely been eating a lot of protein recently, cut out all bad food, all bad drinks, just everything. And just I'm keeping my drills the same and just really focusing on what I need to work on to achieve finals and hopefully get on the podium.
So let's talk about the training leading up to these 300 hurdles especially. We always have a debate with our coaching staff every year, like, what is the hardest high school race? And even though I was never a hurdler myself, I always say that 300, if you run the threes the right way, it's harder than the 8, it's harder than the 4. So why don't you talk us through how that 300 hurdle race looks like?
Yeah, this is my first year running 300 hurdles. In the past, I just like ran 100 hurdles, and there's a huge difference. I ran the 4x4 a couple times this year, and I definitely say the 300 hurdles are way more brutal, but it's just all about keeping your momentum throughout the whole entire race and not losing your acceleration.
How do you have so much success in something that, like you just said, it is the first year you ran it? I mean, what clicked so quick for you?
I mean, I've been doing hurdles since 8th grade, so it's like the technique was all there. It's just the sprint between the hurdles that is what I had to focus on and worry about.
So, what's kind of self-talk have you been giving yourself this week getting ready to go down to the state meet? You're going to be seeing the best of the best in D3. What are some like positive self-talks you've been giving yourself leading up to this meet?
I'm more calm because, well, this is my 3rd time making it to state for hurdles. And so I kind of have a feel of like how it will be down there. And being that I'm a junior this year, I'm definitely like, I don't know, I feel more prepared and I feel like I can accomplish a lot this year.
What are some lessons from last year that you're going to take and maybe make adjustments into this year?
Definitely my starts. I've gotten a lot better with my starts. My first 3 hurdles is what I struggled with last year, and it ended up me losing, not making it to finals by 100th of a second. So I'm definitely hungry and I'm ready to make it to finals.
Yeah, and fixing those starts, you can get yourself a lot of ticks there just fixing up that start. And in sprint events, if you don't have a good start, you're not really having a good race in that sense. That's a great thing to fix up there to heading down there. So what's your pre-meet going to look like? Do you have any superstitions or rituals that you absolutely have to do getting ready to go for both the hurdle events?
Yeah, I mean, we don't race until 4:30, I think, on Thursday. So I'll probably have a chicken wrap around like 1 o'clock. But other than that, I start my warm up like an hour before, and I just do the routine that I do every meet.
Is a pre-meet chicken wrap a routine too? Is that something that you stick to and you always have?
Yeah, except if it was on a Saturday like meet. But other than that, I usually have a chicken wrap.
Hey, it's good protein, good carbs, always ready to rock there.
Oh.
So like you're a standout athlete over there at Mineral Ridge. So what are some things that you're going to be telling like any of the younger athletes that might be looking up to you in the RAM community?
Yeah, there was a few freshmen this year who have never like really done hurdles, but I really like took them on and just helping them like with their technique and everything, focusing on like the little things that like maybe I even forgot about. It's like a good reminder and a refresher for me too. So they really helped me out and definitely have pushed me this year.
Track is the end of a long school year for you. You go nonstop with volleyball, basketball, then track. How do you stay away from fatigue and gassing out at the end of a track season?
Yeah, I take a lot of recovery time. Again, I also take a lot of Epsom salt baths and a lot of ice baths to help like refresh and like recover my legs faster. But I've definitely not, especially with state this week, I have not been doing a lot, just taking it very lightly.
So let's talk about your workouts a little bit. Leading up to this point in the season, I'm sure you've gone through a lot of workouts that you may have liked and a lot of workouts that you may not have liked very much.
Yeah.
What are your favorite workouts and what are your least favorite workouts?
My favorite workouts is probably doing a fly-in 200, and basically that's just like we set up the hurdles for like the 300 starts, but I start from like the 200, and then I do like I run through all the hurdles, and then I have like a 5-minute recovery time, and I'll do the same thing in the 100. And I feel like it's a really good workout to like help boost my endurance for the threes. For the 100s, I usually don't like do like full workout, just mostly drills since it is such a fast race, and I only take like 3 steps in between. But my least favorite workout is we call them poison 200s. It's we do 3 to 4 200s with only like a minute or two recovery time in between until the very end. So you really like build up the lactic acid. So like your like muscle memory will like know the feeling, and you'll have more endurance for 300. So they're both good workouts, but definitely not my favorite one to do.
Yeah.
We're definitely hoping for big results for you this weekend, but no matter how they go, this is going to be like the end of a, like I said, long journey for you this school year. What's next week going to look like? How do you kind of, finally, relax after a long athletic season?
I'll definitely take a few days off, but I plan to do some summer meets, and I still plan to train for hurdles, so that should be fun. And volleyball, open gyms have already started up, so I'll probably be joining those too.
No
Same with,
rest for the weary, man.
same with
No.
our league too. So
Are you signed up for nationals, or are you going to do like the local AAU circuit?
I'm not really worrying about it right now, just because state's this week, so I'm probably gonna look more into it and probably worry about it more in the next week or two.
So in the same avenue of my last question, because you've been eating so right for the last couple months for this high school track season, what is going to be your celebration? You have to have a celebration meal after the track season's over, right? You have to be able to have something that you haven't been able to have in a while. When track's done, what's that going to be for you?
I'm definitely gonna be eating a lot of candy. I haven't had candy in probably a month, so I'm definitely gonna be have some of that. Probably maybe even a pop.
Love it.
Yeah.
So what kind of what do you want to do like after high school? Do you look into sports afterwards, or what career path are you looking to pursue?
Yeah, I definitely would like to play a sport in college. Um, I haven't like fully decided on what sport I want to go for, but I have like a few looks in at least like all of them right now. But if I had to choose either between volleyball or track, I would say, but I think I'm leaning more towards track and trying to find a future in that.
All right, one cool question for me before you go is you get to represent Mineral Ridge. You get to put on the Mineral Ridge uniform down at state, and you get to represent your whole community, your whole school. What makes you proud that you're able to do that and represent the school system?
I love like they have my backs, like the staff, my friends' parents, just anybody in the community. Like at one point, like they'll say something to me, and it just makes me feel like so much better that like they have my back and they're here supporting me. So it motivates me a lot more to like do good, especially for a little town in Mineral Ridge that doesn't like no one really knows about. So it's just really nice to be able to represent them.
Do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody before we let you go today?
Yeah, definitely all of my coaches. They've helped me so much. My parents, they've done so much for me this season, just like pushing me to be my best, and my family who supported me, and my friends, especially my friends who are coming down to state with me to celebrate me and just watch me. So definitely excited.
Ava, another player profile for you. We thank you for your time always. We know we'll talk to you in real soon because before long we'll be right in the volleyball season. We'll be talking to you about that. So thank you always for your time. Good luck this weekend. We hope you raise a trophy, and we'll see you in real soon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, good luck, Ava.
Thank
Ava Hewlett, Ava Vecchione, the two Avas on the episode today. We went all through all the names that are getting to state. Coach, a lot of those names are people that we've interviewed, so maybe there's some mojo here to coming on the show.
We picked a good batch of kids to interview this season too. I mean, a couple unfortunate things happened last week as well. You never like the. I know the Fitch sprinters. They ended up having a couple injuries at the wrong time there. So, I mean, I'm sure those guys would have been another one to add to the list there. So it's very unfortunate. lot of really good kids over there that, unfortunate things happen during the season. Good, sometimes good things happen, sometimes not so good things happen. But I have a strong feeling that we're going to be talking about a lot of these kids again next week, talking about them getting on the podium. Every week when I go over the list, I put asterisks next to the names and the relays that I think are going to stand out. And I honestly almost ran out of ink this week. So I have over 40 kids that I think are going to be on the podium. So
All right, Coach.
40% of those 100 kids that are going down there ain't too bad.
Not a great grade to get in school, but a great percentage of athletes that we're going to see on the podium for sure.
Yeah.
Before we end this episode, let's get a couple of your favorites for a possibility of not just getting on the podium, but getting first and getting a state championship.
Well, all right. So first, as we said in the top of the show, the Lowville boys, I really think that they have a great opportunity to be the state champions. I am not betting against Mike Malone in D3 in any of the individual events that he's in. And again, they're also the clubhouse leader going over to Dayton in the 4x4. They ran a 321, I believe, at the regional meet. That's blazing. And they're almost 2 seconds better than the next seed there. So that 4x4 and Mike in the open events, as long as he can maintain like superhero status through the heat and the turnover, I really think that the Lowville boys are going to make us really proud. Tiara Triplett and Katie Grexa from Badger, I think they have a good opportunity to be close to the top of the podium there. I really like Christian Davis in the 400. It's unfortunate we did not get him on this year, but it'd be nice to see him up there. Duncan Moy could have a big day. And then in D2, I really like, excuse me, sorry about that. We have our end of the day announcements here.
Who ride bus 11, you will look for bus 42. Students who ride bus 11 will look for bus 42. Students who ride bus 9, we're looking for bus 13.
Sorry.
Bus 9,
a lot of transportation problems over at Boardman today.
Students who ride bus 42, you will look for bus 12. 42 will be 12. Recap quick. 11 will be 42. 9 will be.
Wait a minute. That wasn't
Yeah,
right.
anybody that wants to drive a bus, you can send them over to Boardman.
You're also going to be on 12. So 11 and 42 are both on 12. 9 is on 13. Take care, be safe, and go Flames!
That was a great end, but that confused me so much.
Loves it, man. I mean, let's see. Back to D2. I really like, again, Ava Littler from Canfield in the high hurdles. She put on a show all season, so I really don't see her stopping. She is going to get some big competition down there, but it would be in the finals. If she runs a clean race, I have a good feeling about her being a state champion as well. Riley Hutton, long jumping. She knocked out an 18-footer last week. You put something like that out there at the state meet, you're going to be in pretty good shape. And then Blake Baker in the 3,200, I really think he's going to be high on the podium. Brock Ferris, again, he was third at regionals, breaking our school record. I think his legs are going to be a little more rested, and I think he's going to be ready to go for the state meet here. I really think we're going to be talking about at least a handful of state champions next week, and then a lot of other good performances that we're going to see out of our kids. But I have a lot of asterisks in my notes over here for this week going down to the state meet. So we're going to be talking about a lot of well-represented teams and athletes going down there.
We're so excited, Coach. That'll do it for today's episode 7. Next week's episode 8, it's the series finale where we'll talk about the state and all the champions, hopefully, that we have and the people on the podium. We'll try to get as many great performances on as we can. We might have like a Running Wednesday super show for the season finale, because why not, right? We want to celebrate these people that go and do so well at state. So we might just bring on as many people as possible next week.
Well, I mean, to get to this point, these kids have been through a lot to get to this point, and the state meet it's an animal in itself. You have a less than a 24-hour turnover in a lot of cases to go from the semis to the finals, and you're going against the best of the best in your divisions. So, I mean, you're really going to beat yourselves up. The answer, what should be doing the day after, is just shutting down and being a kid, because they're going to be feeling it for a couple days after this one.
Not for
Really
Ava.
excited
She's
to see
going
it.
right to volleyball.
Yeah, exactly. Or right straight to volleyball open gyms, and then we're right into June, and that's big basketball time for
You know,
camps and all the other stuff too. So you're
I
going to
know
see a
when-
little no rest for some of these kids.
when we talk about that, we talk about, my man, geez, they're not getting any rest, but I would bet a lot of those first open gyms for Ava Hewlett, she is there in a leadership capacity because she is one of the best players on the team. So she's there to be a leader, to say, I am here. I bet that she's not going 100% those first couple open gyms.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Have you
Maybe.
met Mackenzie Riccatelli?
Well,
Do you think she's calming down at an open gym there?
she's a different animal, as you like to say.
They all are. I mean, we have so many great athletes in this area. I mean, I'm so proud to see like all these kids go. I mean, I take a lot of pride in being from the Youngstown area, as a lot of us do, but seeing these kids do such a good job, whether they're from rival schools or from our own backyard, it really makes me excited, and it gives you a sense of pride, because yeah, I saw that kid 3 months ago at a meet, and now here they are. Look how they grew. Look how they've grown since their freshman year. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I was just going through some of my old notes, seeing some of these kids, how they've developed. I mean, it's really impressive, and I know personally what it takes to get to where they're at, so it's even more impressive in that sense.
Well, that'll do it for episode 7. Our regional recap and state preview is done. We want to thank Ava Vecchione and Ava Hewlett, the Avas, for coming on the show today and talking about what they're going to be going through in the week. I'm sure they're both kind of rooting for each other, but also competing against each other a
They
little
are
bit. in
competing
Division
against
3.
each other.
So, no matter what, they're competing against each other. So hopefully we have more odds of someone getting a really good result. If they're both going up against each other, you put more things in the bucket, you have more odds to bring home the gold. It's probably good that we separated those two,
Yeah.
Excuse me. But that'll do it for episode 7. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Every week we'll be back one more next week, hopefully with a lot of state champions and state podium getters.
That sounds good to me, Coach. Thank you so much.
All right, that was episode 7 of Running Wednesdays with Rick Seipert. What a great episode. We are getting ready for state. All the runners and throwers are going to state, probably leaving early in the morning to get all the way to Dayton tomorrow. And then tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, it's a 3-day event down there in Dayton. We're going to go into a little bit of extra time today on Running Point because that was a long episode. We had a lot to talk about. We had 2 interviews, a lot of runners qualifying for state. So we're going to go into overtime a little bit, Running Point. We're going to give Scotty his chance to be on the show and talk. And Scotty, I want to ask you the most dangerous question of the week. What's on your mind?
Let's get dangerous, huh?
You know it.
Darkwing Duck. So I guess first off, Ant, because, so many exciting things happening with track as the season winds down now, and then also softball as well. Is the competition in the fact that, we had the 2 Avas on just now, is the fact that, they're so highly competitive and they were great interviews, a lot of character. Is the competition part, is that always your favorite thing about this, not just any sports season, but this time of year specifically, or is it more kind of that uncertainty, like you don't know what's going to happen, or is it something else? I guess what I'm asking is, what's your favorite element of the season?
I mean, my favorite element of like this, when we're in state and it's people going for their dreams. I mean, that's it right there. I mean, you're watching people, You're watching athletes that we've covered all season and for seasons before this. For anyone that's not a freshman, um, they're going to try to achieve something that they looked and dreamed about when they were 8, 9, 10 years old. And a lot of these players, especially on South Range's team that went and watched the 2016 team right there on the poster that went to the state semifinals, those girls dreamt watching that team of getting to this point. And here they are now as high schoolers themselves in the same situation where they're at this point and they have little girls in South Range watching them wanting to be in their shoes one day. So it's all about building up the next generation with these athletes achieving their dreams and then building the dreams of the next athletes. And that's what makes programs consistently good for years. I mean, we go to the champion who went to the regional finals and lost South Range 1-0, but they've won, under Cheryl Weaver, they've won 60 championships. One of the reasons why is because they're the same way. They go, they win, they have the young girls watch them win, and they want to be a part of it. So all of a sudden, it just feeds into the program again and again and again, and that's what South Range is doing now. And they haven't won a state yet, but they're knocking on that door consistently, and they're getting the youth excited about being a part of this program, and they want to be that team that goes to Firestone and wins. And this team wants to be the team that goes to Firestone and finally, breaks the door completely down and wins the state championship. And if you're not excited about watching these athletes go out there in the biggest stage that they've ever been and win and complete their dream, then I don't check your pulse. You're not in the right business.
And yeah, it's great stuff. And I like how you talked about you put an emphasis on the evolution there, kind of the passing of the torch type thing as well. I also wanted to get your thoughts. I was reading today about the softball matchups we have coming up here, and I wanted to get your thoughts. We all know the strengths, the strong points of teams like Austintown, Fitch, and Canfield, but what's something that you think maybe could be? Is there any sort of X factor you think that could come into play this year, or maybe something under the radar, like a dark horse that could help propel Canfield and Austintown Fitch to glory again, like something that people aren't talking about as much or enough?
I think for both teams, and we saw this in some of the games for the regional semifinal for Fitch, we saw it in the regional final for Canfield. The bottom half of the order is going to be one of the big difference makers, and for South Range too, because the top half is great. 1 through 5 for every team is phenomenal, and but when you have Fitch, who has Sam Severn, for example, in the regional semifinal, get on, get over, and then get in for that game-winning run. Sam Severn hits, 7th, I think, in their lineup. So that's the key. You have to be able to get people on for the top half of the order. And the best teams, the ones that win state, normally have a lineup that goes 1 through 9 deep instead of having 1 through 5 and then 6, 7, 8, 9. Just can't hit on this level with this pitching. So I think the key for all the teams, really, one of the under talked about keys, there's a lot of them, and everyone's going to be talking about Sydney Watts and Melina Toth and Jaylee Wilt, and obviously they have to I said it. We had to the obviously tally, and we just had 2 of them right there. If you're just joining us on Running Point, we are counting how many times I say that word, because I noticed last week 2 weeks ago now, how many times I actually do say it. So we're counting it, and that's, I believe, 31 in the last, we're on show number 14 since I started counting. So still about 2 a show. Fantastic. But when we talk about um, doing everything that everyone's talking about, Jaylee Wilt, Melina Toth, Sydney Watts, they need to pitch well. That's apparent. Their offensive superstars need to show up. That's apparent. But I think what's not talked about is the bottom half of the order, especially 7, 8, 9, those hitters down there, and how they can set the table for the big hitters in the lineup 1 through 4 with runners on. So I think that'll be one of the factors that not a lot of people are talking about, and for all 4 offenses too. And we saw in the tournament run, all 3 of the offenses. Well, I'll throw Matthews in there too because they have a pretty good offense in their own right. But all 4 of the offenses at some point in the tournament had the bottom half of the order really, really step up in big ways. You saw South Range in the district championship have a grand slam from their 9-hole hitter in Heidi Bartels. And then, like I said, Austintown Fitch got Sam Severin on the base and then got her around to third. And then Kayleana Ray, who's the leadoff hitter, knocked her in. So she was in scoring position for Ray, who is 4 for 4 on the day. And then you give her an opportunity for an RBI. She comes through, and Fitch wins that semifinal 2-1. And then when you're talking about Canfield, they were in a pitcher's duel in the regional final against Buckeye, and Macy Kalina, who's in the bottom half of their order, came up with a big RBI base hit to give them a little bit more cushion and turn a 2-0 lead that is just a bloop and a blast. That's all you have to give up to a 3-0 lead, which with Melina Toth feels a lot more comfortable 3-0 than 2-0. So that was a big RBI for her at the bottom half of the order. So the hitters 7 through 9 are going to be a big key for all 3 teams, in my opinion.
Let me ask you this, a final thing, kind of closing on this topic here. Do you think when you have a great team like a Canfield and an Austintown Finch and so many of the great players in the area, do you think it's like almost easier for the less, I don't want to say less appreciated, but the players that don't get maybe as much of the attention? Do you think it's just that much easier because they know they have that? It's like a security blanket, and it's much easier for them to shine when their name's called upon? Or do you think because they have players achieve a level of such good excellence that sometimes it could be even harder to shine when your name's called upon?
I think all 3 teams have players in their lineup that take up a lot of the scouting report. Like we have to pitch well to Ayla Ray, right? We have to pitch well to Kayleana Ray. We have to pitch well to Leah Figueroa. She has 10 home runs in the year. If we don't pitch well to her, we're going to be in a bad spot. For South Range, we have to pitch well to Anna A, right? She has 9 home runs in the year. We have to make sure we're pitching well against her. So there are a lot of players on both teams that get a lot of attention in the scouting report. Inevitably, that is going to make some other players a little bit under the radar because unlike college, you're gonna watch the WCWS in a couple of days and see all these colleges. They all have video up the wazoo of every team. They go on ESPN. They can scout every hitter, break down every hitter's offense, break down what their swing is, where their holes are. For softball, these high school coaches, they don't have the time to do that because they're also probably teachers or they're also have another job that they do for their day job. So they don't have all day and night to just pour into softball. But 2, there's not nearly as much information out there on these hitters, right? So you try to pick out the best ones and say, okay, how do we attack this one that has a lot of attention? What can we do to scout them at least? It means that you're just not going to find as much on the lower hitters in the scouting report, and you're probably not going to pitch. You're going to pitch to your strength instead of trying to avoid their strength, and sometimes it can really help you out, especially with hitters like, for example, South Range. Heidi Bartels benefits from that. I think Selena De Jesus really benefited from that the second half of the season, and we saw her just go on an absolute run. And is hitting really, really well right now. And I think she's a benefactor of that. I think for Canfield, Macy Kalina, a big benefactor of that. So is Marina Koenig. for Austin Town Fitch, Sam Severn and Morgan Roby and players like that don't get the big, talk about in the scouting report. They're benefiting from it. I mean, I think Sam Severn's hitting above 600. She should be in the scouting report, but because you have hitters like Sydney Watts and Kylie Folkwine, and Nayla Ray and Kayleana Ray, you can't spend all the energy on everybody. So there are definitely players that fall through the cracks. They're maybe not as well known and they're not as talked about, whatever it may be. But those players, they take their opportunity because you maybe pitch a pitch to them that you feel like you could get by them, but they know that's in my wheelhouse, and then you get in a lot of trouble.
Always thought-provoking stuff, and I was wondering if we could switch gears, if I could throw one final topic out at you.
We got time. Let's see.
Yeah.
Plenty of time. It's only 2:06. You go ahead.
Okay. I was wondering, just for fun here, now we haven't talked about it as much. You did message me. We touched on it briefly last week in a message. But are you said a lot at the beginning of the season that you're excited about the Royals start, but you're not necessarily buying it yet because you wanted to see more. Well, now we sit here almost 2 months in, and I know the Royals have struggled a little these last few nights, but they still have one of the best records in baseball, one of the best records in the American League. The not far, only 3.5 behind the Guardians. The Guardians with the best record in the AL. Only the Phillies are better. So I guess all that being said, are you buying both the Guardians and the Royals? And do you think it's going to be a fight all the way through the season, or could you see one of them maybe fading a bit?
I really want to buy the Royals. I do, because they're playing so well, and it's long into the season, definitely enough to judge how good a team is. But there's some maybe past trauma. I don't know what it is. There's something telling me like, we are the Royals. Like, what is this? So I'm just really hoping that they don't look at their jerseys and realize who they're playing for and then start playing like the Royals, because I'm sitting here like, what in the world? We just went on an 8-game winning streak. What is this? We haven't been this good since 2015. That was a little 2-year, like pop of the magic. So, I knew we were going to be good. I knew we were going to be a lot better. I knew that signing Bobby Witt Jr. was big, and I knew Salvi Perez was going to be healthy, and I knew our pitching was revamped and all that fun stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm still telling myself, like, it's not even June yet. You still have like 4 months of baseball left that you have to get through, and it's a grind, and it's a team that doesn't, not used to winning at that level, so you never know how they'll handle the pressures that come with success. They're being talked about a lot more than they ever are on the MLB network and things like that. There's a lot of eyes. There's a lot of interviews. You never know how a team that has never been in that situation before will handle that. I believe Salvi's the only player for the Royals that was a part of that run in 2014 and 15 currently on the roster. So he's the only one that can tell people what it's like and what to expect from it. So I'm hoping that you kind of get the old freshman cliche where they don't know what they don't know and they just go out and play baseball and continue to succeed. But the dang Guardians won't lose. We went on an 8-game winning streak. You went on an 8-game winning streak. We couldn't gain a game in the standings. We're sitting here like, what in the world do we have to do? And unfortunately, we blanked first a little bit with that 3-game losing streak we're on. But hey, it's baseball. I'm happy being 3.5 back right now, and we play each other not too long. I think the second week of June we're in Kansas City against each other. So,
and even looking through it as a Guardians fan's lens, I mean, you talked about from the Royals' perspective not gaining any ground. Well, up until these last few nights, we didn't we won 9 in a row, and we only picked up I think 2 games in the standings. So
yeah, and you got it but it's a lot easier when you're still in front, though. Okay, Like, you're still in the lead. Like, okay,
It's fair, but
we haven't gained ground, but you're still ahead. Like, we're
So
sitting here
you're-
trying to get in the front, and it's like we cannot get through to these guys. So I
Yeah.
think it's a little bit easier being in the lead, Scotty.
to the point you made earlier, though, it is only, we haven't even hit June 1st yet. So
Right. There's a
a
lot of
lot can,
baseball to
a
go.
lot
But
can happen.
I'll say this, Scotty. We might not. We both might tail off and not be like the best records in the AL. But I'm watching the conference or the league, I should say, and I'm not particularly blown away by the Central. I think right now, by far, we're the best teams. I know we just lost to the Twins twice, but I'm watching the Twins, and I'm like, I don't know if this is sustainable. The White Sox have fallen completely in the dark. The Tigers look pretty inconsistent. So do the Twins, by the way. The Twins went on like that big winning streak to get themselves out of the cellar, but then they went on another losing streak. Now they've won 2 in a row against the Royals, but like that's inconsistent baseball. That's not sustainable. So I'm looking at the division and I'm thinking the Royals and Guardians look like the best 2 teams in the division. It might go down to us. We might not end the season with like the best records in the AL. Maybe we tail off a little bit, but I am seeing that we will not tail off enough for anyone in the Central to catch us. I don't see anyone going on a big run in the middle of the summer. And if they don't make a move soon, then they're going to have to make the decision of, do we even sell players or do we make a move to make a run at this? That's going to be interesting too, to see how both teams handle that. Towards the second half of summer, Guardians and Royals, if it's still us two going at it, we're not usually in this position. So how do we handle grabbing someone? Do we grab someone? Do we try to get someone to make a run at it? Our GM is new. It's not the same GM that we had back in 2015. So it'll be his first position in like a playoff run. So I'm interested to see how he handles it in the front office too.
And one final question I have on this topic. You got to right to where I was gonna go. Let's say come a month from now, when we're talking the end of June, the Guardians and the Royals are still pretty much neck and neck. Maybe the Guardians are still have a 1 or 2 game lead. Maybe the Royals overtake them, but say they're within shouting distance of each other. Right now, as a Guardians fan, if I had to say, do I want a veteran starting pitcher or do I want a bat? Because of the loss of Shane Bieber, I know the Guardians don't have a ton of power in the lineup, but I go veteran pitcher. I'll flip the question to you. Would you want another veteran bat for your Royals or a veteran pitcher if you could only pick one?
Here's 2 things that I would want if we made a playoff run. One, I'd want a veteran. I don't care if it's a pitcher. I'd want someone that's been through a playoff run to help Salvi lead this team. I think we did that in 2014. We brought in Alex Rios, who had been there, done that. And that was a team that had nobody because Salvi hadn't been there before, obviously. I said good. But Salvia hadn't been there before back in 2014, so we needed someone that had been through playoff runs and knew how to kind of handle themselves. So we brought in Alex Rios that year, and we went all the way to the World Series. So I think I would love bringing in someone that has been there, done that. If there's anyone in the realm possibility for the Royals that could be a veteran guy that could come in, maybe not get a lot of bats, or maybe not even be a pinch hitter, pinch runner, because that's pretty much what Alex Rios was at that point in his career. But just be a presence in that locker room, in that dugout, to be like, hey, this is what it takes to go win playoff games and to go get into the playoffs, because inevitably these young kids haven't been there before and they might not be able to handle, playing the way you need to play to get there. So I would like that, but I want our bullpen to be a little bit better. So I'd go after bullpen guys. I'm trying to get like a really, really good 6, 7, 8 inning. We have a pretty good closer, but I would really like, the bullpen is what won us those games back in 14 and 15. We had a bullpen that was the best in baseball. So I'd kind of want to go back and get a really good bullpen again.
Am I having amnesia, or was that the Wade Davis
Wade
When
Davis was the closer when we won the World Series.
okay,
The year we went there, he was a like the eighth inning guy, and Greg Holland was our closer.
Greg
Both years
Hall.
we had really good bullpens. Greg Holland got hurt in 15, so Wade Davis took the closing role, but we still had Kelvin Herrera and Wade Davis and Greg Holland. So it was kind of a three-headed monster. And then when Greg Holland came back, he was in that World Series run, but he wasn't. We weren't going to take Wade Davis out of the closing role. He had earned that spot, so he was a closer. So they just kind of flip-flopped areas where Greg Holland would come in the eighth, and then Davis would kind of go in the ninth. I think that year we had like one game where we were up by more than 2 runs after 6 and lost all season. That's how good that bullpen was.
Wow.
So
Did you have was the Executioner Joaquin Soria was he in that pen?
that was pre World Series. He kind of started his whole career at Kansas City, and he had that one year, I think in like 2011 or 12, where he had like a ridiculous amount of saves for Kansas City, somewhere like the 48, 49 realm. How many times do you see a closer be the All-Star representative for your team? That's how bad the Royals were. But it was like, hey, Joaquin Soria, go be in the All-Star game because there's no one else that we can possibly, put there. But yeah, the Joaquin Soria was pre-World Series. Greinke got his start in Kansas City as well. I think did he win a Cy Young with the Royals in his early days? He might have.
I think he did. I thought he did, but maybe not.
He either won the Cy Young. I knew he had a game where he like broke the franchise strikeout record, which was pretty cool. But then he came back for his last. I don't know if he retired or he just left, but came back for his last 2 years in Kansas City. He was obviously at the end. Oh, jeez. I'm telling you, Scotty, man. I'm telling you. You brought some bad mojo. You brought some bad mojo with you, man.
You know what I say, and I still struggle, but I've said it a ton in the past, and I want to kick myself every time. Everyone has a word or phrase, but I always say piggyback, and I'm like, I gotta stop saying that.
It's bad. Once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. Like, I've probably been saying it for so long, but like once you notice you're saying it, you can't just like every time you say it, you're like, why am I saying this?
Yeah.
Apparently, DJ pointed out that I used to say realm a lot. Like I was in a realm kick, and he used to make fun of me and be like, "Why are we in like Thor? Like why are we talking about all these realms and the Avengers?" So I used to say the word realm a lot, like in the realm of baseball or in the realm of blah 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 blah. So apparently, I used to say that a lot. Now I'm on this obviously kick, and I'm not counting that one, by the way. So what were we talking? Zach Greinke. Yeah. So I think he retired, but he was at the end of his career. I think his ERA last year was like in the 5s, and then before that it was in the 3s. But he was at veteran presence. Like I don't care what your ERA is, he might be a reason why a lot of these pitchers that were there last year that are there this year are having a lot more success. In the last 2 years because they learned from Zach Greinke on how to conduct themselves. Brady Singer, I think, is one guy that is absolutely benefited from having Zach Greinke in the bullpen.
Yeah. So I guess one really quick, you could answer it yes or no. You don't even have to elaborate. But have you seen the Royals City Connect jerseys, and do you approve of them?
Yes and yes. I love the KC with the fountain going down the. See, I like the blue. It's not navy necessarily. It's dark, but it's not like dark enough to be navy. I just like the shade of blue mixed with light blue and white. I think it looks really cool. I think it's one of the better City Connect jerseys in the league. I think there are a couple of them that are better that I like better, but I think Kansas City's up there.
Did you? Because I kind of have mixed feelings on it.
I hate our new road jerseys though. It's so bland. It's just a block Kansas City. I'm like, ugh.
What did you think of What did you think of my Guardian City Connects?
Oh, it's good. I like it. The only ones that I really don't like at all, like I don't like San Diego's. Boston's like is cool, but it just doesn't make sense. Like I don't know Boston history what they're going for, but when I turn on a Red Sox game, I want to see something red. not light blue and yellow.
Yeah, it
It's
just
yeah.
doesn't feel right. I mean, I get why they did it, I guess, because of the Boston Marathon, but
I don't really like the Nats, the Nationals. The WSH is kind of boring to me. But everyone else, like Tampa Bay, wore some jersey. I don't even know if it wasn't even City Connect because I think it was Saturday because everyone wears City Connect on Friday, right? Friday home games. Is
yeah,
that how it goes?
I think Friday and
So
then the rest of
Saturday,
the weekend.
Saturday, the Rays wore these jerseys that were like they were black, but they had like almost like a kind of looked like space almost, where they had like white little like clouds everywhere, and then they were neon yellow and neon pink for like the Rays, and their hat had a cool Ray logo on the top, and I was like, oh, I'm digging these jerseys pretty well. The only thing I don't like about all black with baseball jerseys is for some reason, I don't know if you noticed this, but all black kind of looks even more baggy than everything else. So you can tell really, really easily that it doesn't fit. And every player looks like twice as fat as they are with all black, like the black pants and the black tops. They just kind of
Yeah, I gotta say though, I do love also. Speaking of the color black, I love the White Sox.
White
Um,
Sox is good.
I don't know if you've seen them, but I love those.
Now there are some that I haven't even seen. Like I don't know. I'm sure the Cardinals. I haven't seen what their City Connect jerseys look like, but they're usually pretty fly. So I imagine they have a good City Connect uni. I like the Pirates.
Yeah, the Pirates isn't bad.
I feel like that's an unpopular opinion because I've heard a lot of people not like the Pirates, but I kind of like it. I like the Pirates City Connect jersey.
Yeah, I don't mind them. I love those. I think a couple years ago they kind of came out with a modern version of those pillbox hats, but this year they had the spring training hats with like the gold star. I thought those were pretty sweet.
Yep. I like our spring training hats has the crown over the KC, and I always like that. I wish we'd incorporate that in our uniform every now and then. All right, let's get back to local real quick and wrap this up and let everyone know before we get out of here that tonight, very exciting night. We're gonna have a softball state send-off show at 8:00 tonight. All the social media channels. It'll be on the website as well. 8:00. We're gonna have the coaches from all three teams or YSN family teams, South Range, Canfield, and Austin Town Fitch. We're gonna have a couple of players from each. So players from Canfield, players from South Range, players from Fitch, and then at the very end, we're gonna have a really fun roundtable kind of discussion with Melena Toth, Sydney Watts, and Jaylee Welt, the aces from all three teams as well. And then we'll wrap it up with kind of our last thoughts about state and what me, Ty, and DJ all think about it. So me, Ty, and DJ will be on that show. We can't wait for it. It's going to be a fun time. If you're a fan of any of the communities, I urge you to stop by, watch every one of them so you can root for everyone that's going to state because they're all in separate divisions, so they don't have to compete with each other anymore. They can just root for each other, and we can hopefully get 3 area state championship trophies and a 4th from Matthews. I want to wish Matthews the best of luck. We like our Mustangs. They're not a YSN family school yet, but we want them to be, and we would love them to be. So if you're out there listening from Matthews, make sure to reach out to us, reach out to your AD, and get aboard the YSN family. So we wish them the luck, and we were rooting for them too. So hopefully we get 4 area softball trophies at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Exciting.
Also, want to give a shout out to the baseball teams as well. We know that sometimes with state being the week before you guys, you can feel like maybe you're overshadowed by the hoopla of the state tournament, but promise you are not. We are so rooting for all the baseball teams that are still alive in the regional semifinals that will begin on Thursday as well as the track runners who we, not just the ones we featured, but all the ones that we went over and Running Wednesday episode 7. We wish everyone the best of luck in Dayton down there. We have so many amazing athletes that are making deep runs in the tournament, whether you're talking baseball, softball, or track and field, even tennis. We had Orange tennis players make a huge run and get state runners up in the OHSAA tennis tournament. So we have a lot of amazing athletes in the YSN family. We wish them all the best of luck. We'll be back tomorrow on Running Point. No show on Friday. I'll be down at Firestone on Friday during the afternoon, but tomorrow I'll be able to fit a show in. So we'll do kind of my idea of a state preview tomorrow, where I'll just dig into the matchups and my thoughts on the teams in state, all that fun stuff like I like to do. We'll do that tomorrow on Thursday, and then we'll take a hiatus over the weekend. Be back on Monday. That came out of nowhere. We'll come back here on Monday, and then Scotty, you'll be back on Wednesday, buddy, for the last episode of Running Wednesday. It'll be the season finale, hopefully, with a couple of state champions. And then me and Scotty will be back here on Wednesday as well. Everything's going to be fun. And then the summer starts. We have Class B in Little League. That'll be fun too. Where we are looking forward to the transition from spring to summer. But we have some things to take care of before that, Scotty. We have some things to take care of. We have some trophies to rise, buddy.
Yeah, it's go time, baby. This is what it's all about.
Bonesaw is ready.
As Bart Scott would say, can't wait.
Can't wait, buddy. All right, we'll sign out for today's episode of Running Point. I want to thank Rick Seipert for all his time. I want to thank Ava Hewlett and Ava Vecchione for both giving us their time for the interviews. I want to thank Scotty for coming on like he does every week. And last but not least, I want to thank Greenwood Chevrolet for the sponsorship of today and every day. We can't do anything without the Greenwood Chevrolet sponsorship of this show. Scotty, my man, thank you for coming on and being with me every Wednesday. You always do a great job. We'll see everybody tomorrow at Running Point.